try to capture things that I do in real life, you know, I mean, run over kids, I don't know. Such as sessions and musical events, visiting with good friends of mine where I can be whoever I am. So, do you agree to that?
Yeah.
We have to get down to the facts.
I think you're uptight. I think you're hung up. I think you're not sure what you're doing or what you want.
Well, let's show it then.
Jay and I have known each other now for 10 years. When he moved to Oregon, actually he came from Long Island to Salt Lake City to Seattle to Portland. Came with his father because his mother had died a number of years earlier and his dad was raising him. His dad and I became friends because we're both in Alcoholics Anonymous together. And in AA you become friends with families, and Jay and I became good friends too. He was like 16 years old at the time, and so he was kind of a high school kid and I was a young adult. And then it worked out that I gave him his first commercial job. It was at the Port of Portland. I was in charge of the community relations department, and we needed a photo job done. And my friend's son had a camera and wanted to get into the business, and he did a really great job for us. And then, as you know, or as it later happened, I'm one of the fellows that started Willamette Week newspaper, and Jay wanted to get into the reprographics business, bought a camera out of the basement of Payless, used reprographics camera, and all of a sudden he was in business. And of course he still is, and he has, as you know, a lot more equipment. In fact, a lot more equipment brings up a good story about Jay, that every time he takes delivery of a new camera, and by the way, cameras in the reprographics business weigh thousands and thousands of pounds. We all get phone calls from Jay, and hey, how would you like to meet me in front of the building at 1:30? And of course by now we all know what it's all about. Semi-truck arrives, and there are about 12 of us, which shows you how many friends Jay has, and we're the ones that carry these tremendously heavy pieces of equipment up the stairs and into his
Got a 2-ton hammer, dog meat by the pound. I'm a hard-work driving man, 6 foot solid from the ground. Work my hammer for factory. Foreman always wanna fight. Swallow up some TV dinner. Swing my hammer strong at night. you can. It didn't make no difference. I'm just a hard work driving man.
I've known Jay McALONEN for about 4 years. Jay has been doing all of our reprographic work at Willamette Week for all of that time. It's incredible how much Jay's business has grown, all the equipment that he's added, the space he's added, the people. Now he not only does our blowing up and reducing of our photographs and our ads, but he also does all of our negatives that go down to the Register Guard where we have our newspaper printed. And Jay's business with us has grown, and in that time, I think he works so hard. That's probably what impresses me most. It's an incredible amount of time that he's put in building up that business. It's probably the most complete photo lab on the West Coast now. He's got color Xeroxing, all kinds of cameras and equipment in there. And in order to build a small business like that, Jay's had to work 6 days a week and sometimes 7 days a week, and incredibly long hours, and to put up with the kind of normal turnover in employees that anybody would have to put up with. And I think his diligence and hard work have what's impressed me most. People just don't understand how difficult it is to put together a small business like that.
I'm not sure that it's the business he should be in, but it's one business he should be in. I don't know, maybe he should own a fleet of trucks, or stereo headgear, or Afro Sheen. I don't know. He's an entrepreneur. He's the kind of guy who will probably have fairly large business holdings when he's older, and he'll have them all running very smoothly. I don't know how he treats his employees, probably like shit, but he seems to be pretty on the up and up with them. A lot of straight talk. Tells people when they fuck up.
The thing that I think gets Jay angry or upset the most is I'd put under the category of incompetence. I've seen him not only get mad at me when I screwed up, but he'll occasionally blow up at a customer, even though he might lose a client because he gets so tired with explaining the same thing over and over. A lot of people don't understand what the graphic business is about, and they expect us to work miracles, and we often do, and then they object to the cost involved, and something like that get Jay very upset. I think if Jay were to be involved in any other business or field, it would probably be music. That's his primary hobby. He is a good musician.
probably somewhat like a lot of those other crazies he hangs out with in terms of being somewhat of a frustrated mixed media person. And I guess I find him sometimes frustrated because he wants to be in on everything that's going on and wants to know about a lot of things that are happening. And, you know, kind of feels frustrated that he's put all this money and time into his business, which is really good, and which is, you know, he works a lot harder than most of us, and I'm sure it'll pay off for him in the end. But you know, there's that frustration when I tell him what I've been doing. Maybe sometimes he kind of feels like, I'd kind of like to be doing some of that stuff, or why don't we get together and play music, or why don't we make a film together sometime, or something like that. But you know, hell, I'd trade places with him in a minute.
I really think that what Jay has got going for him is he manages to keep his head together and do a lot of things that normally make people become very untogether, very spaced out, very crazy. And he seems to glide on the top of a kind of a service-oriented business, which is taking in a lot of ins and outs that are complicated. Nothing seems to be just ABC, and yet he keeps his sanity in the face of traffic noise, human noise, and a general lack of poise.
In 10 years, Jay's lived in a lot of different places. And I think where a person lives tells you a lot about a person. When I first met him, he lived in the basement of the home that his father and his stepmother have in Milwaukee, and it was kind of his area. His brother Stan, stepbrother Stan, and himself lived in their basement apartment, and parents, I don't think, were even allowed to go down there. Then when he moved away, he had a little apartment over off of southeast McALONEN, and this was his real home away from home, and everything was pin neat. He had a girlfriend at the time, and she just kept everything as clean as can be. Then he moved into a house over in northeast Portland. This was his move into the establishment. You know, 10 years ago, Jay would have been known as a hippie. Looked like a hippie, acted like a hippie, but he thought like he was a capitalist, and that was his goal.
Money talks. It'll tell you a story. Money talks. Says strange things. Money talks. Very loudly. You'd be surprised how friends you can buy with small change. They say it's a root of all evil. They say gold is a king. Money talk.
Our annual picnic for the office was at Kelly Park, and you know, I'm playing the big shot publisher role, and going around and talking to our employees, a few at a time, and you know, their families and so forth, and enjoying myself in conversations, and here all of a sudden there's Jay and about 3 other guys and about 4 women come running through the crowd, and they're absolutely stark naked. They have no clothes on at all, and they come charging up. They grab a hold of me. 2 have got my arms, 2 have got my legs, and they haul me down to the Willamette and take my clothes off and throw me in the river. And so you know, it's I don't know what else I can say about it. It illustrates that Jay's likes to have a good time, and his idea of something that was funny. I'm not sure I thought it was so funny at the time.
There was one time I can remember that it was one of those innumerable times when Jay had remodeled his studio, which he was wont to do on a frequent bi-weekly basis. And we were in his brand new office, and we rummaged through a huge drawer of film and negatives, little slides, and we pulled out all these pictures of all the girls that Jay had ever known, and all the compromising photos he had ever taken of them. And we took those photos, and we spent roughly an hour and a half admiring the photos and admiring his recent remodeling job.
his sense of organization is such that I think that whatever goal he sets for himself, he'll probably be able to attain in a very short amount of time. The danger with that is that he might get too much too soon. He might, you know, he might be on the cover of Fortune or Time magazine before he's 35 or so. Well, that would be a terrible thing to happen to him.
Hey, this board of directors meeting, man. My fund collector here, 28,000. Hey, chairman of the board. Jesse. Gilbert. Gilbert, vice president. Jesse, my buddy.
Jesse James. Jesse James.
Well, you know, we gotta raise some more money here. That $28,000 in bottles we found for that beer on Carroll camera, that's pretty good stuff.
How much?
28,000. I need another 5,000. This is how we, okay, we want to pass that motion? Pass it. Let's pass it. This moment we have for lunch, you want something?
I do think that Jay's life is very romantic, though. He has a certain knack for living. You run into him at all different places, at all different hours, in very bizarre places sometimes, and every once in a while he plays the man about town with camera. He never wears a Hawaiian shirt or anything, but I saw him the other night in track shoes at the Blazer game with his little Instamatic.
Well, Jay has many outstanding qualities, I think. He's a very hard worker, too hard maybe sometimes. He's very generous. He's very talented. He's, you know, can do anything, he seems like, or he wants to attempt anything. Anything he attempts, he usually accomplishes.
You know, he's kind of a nervous manager sometimes. When he's under pressure, he's jumpy and he's goosey and all over the place. But it's not so much his nervous characteristics or his sense of humor or his friendliness that gets you about Jay. It's his incredible diligence. To put together a small business like that, he's worked really, really hard.
These colors, man, I can't see them anymore. Been here all night again. Where am I getting? I like this one, though. I really like that color. Have a look at this. I think that works with the spin coming out, with the camera moving. That might work.
Jay is one of those people that thrives on pressure. I think he's at his best in a high-pressure situation. I think he prefers to have about 5 things going on at once, that he can move around from one thing to another.
Well, Jay is an intense person. That's his most outstanding quality, and I would say that probably when he's sleeping he's in a high-pressure situation. I've never seen Jay outside of one. He operates at high velocity. He follows his own vision, and usually he pushes himself pretty hard. He's an intense person. He's always under pressure, always under pressure, always under pressure.
All this stuff about Mr. J. McALONEN really being under a lot of pressure and stuff, have I got news for you. Mr. J. McALONEN goes home every night, sits in front of his mirror, and every night he pulls out a certain number of hairs. He sits there, pulls out hairs over here, hairs over there. He wants everybody to think that he's a real mature business person. The only thing that I've ever seen Jay do anything under pressure of any other sort is nitrous oxide. And I don't call that pressure.
Pressure? I'm under pressure all the time. Never bothers me. Not at all. I seem to cruise right through having pressure all the time, as all these people have said. Never bothers me. Not at all. I mean, pressure, nothing wrong with pressure once in a while.
Looking back, when I first met Jay, I lived alone in a little apartment. I was very independent. I enjoyed my freedom. I had no lovers, and I liked that. This guy came along, a guy that I wasn't even attracted to, at least I didn't think I was, a guy that was very persistent in asking me out. 3 days later, I went out with him. Something happened. I do not know to this day why, but I think I fell in love with him.
The subject of Jay and romance is a very difficult one to talk about, mainly because I don't think Jay is that romantic, not in the love sense of the word. His personal life is very romantic. I admire him for that. He's adventuresome. He has a certain joie de vivre that is that reflects out from him to the surrounding world. He's not exactly what I would call the flowers and candy type. As a matter of fact, he is not the last of the red hot lovers.
When I'd be sick or didn't feel well or I was really tired and I happened to have a bad day, I didn't get anything in return. All I needed was a little bit of affection, maybe a little bit of caressing, a little caring. But he was always too tired. Photograph took everything away from him. Thing is that he let Photograph take everything away from him. Someday, I swear, I'm going to send Photograph a golden ring. I'm going to box it up to Jay McALONEN and say, tough shit, Jay, because that's the way it's going to be for the rest of your life if you do not start putting people first before material objects.
Best thing about Jay was that whenever he'd come to a party, and especially when he came to my parties, he would always bring the most beautiful girl to the party. The thing I liked least about Jay was that when he went home, he always took the beautiful girls home, and nobody else got anywhere. He helped the parties, but then a lot of people the next day were griping at me because there were beautiful girls at my party, and I couldn't send them home with them.
Jay and I have been seeing each other now for about 2 years and 4 months. It's a year and 4 months overboard as far as Jay's concerned. Every woman that Jay's ever gone out with, lived with, whatever. After a year, watch out, ladies, because he will be a dying boyfriend.
Personally, I find Jay very intriguing physically. I'm fascinated by his skin. I'm not saying that he has skin problems. He has this beautiful sort of alabaster cast to his face and his skin quality, and it's always soft.
Jay's the kind of guy who looks like he's always in poor health. In fact, he looks like he just had his makeup put on at Caldwell's Colonial Mortuary or something. But he's got to be strong to do what he does and continue to do it. He loves to complain about how bad business is, but he can always buy new equipment. He likes to bitch and moan about how the people that work for him could do better and how much time it takes to do this and do that. But basically, from what I've seen and from what I know, he is a good friend to a lot of people, and he's a good friend of mine, and I'm glad that I know him.
Jay is definitely well suited to the photo business. It has its element of art, and Jay is certainly an artist and successful musician, connoisseur of women. What can I say? You know, he belongs in the artistic community, and he's going to do well as some sort of photographic genius.
I'd say he'd be a good garbage man. Yep, be a great garbage man. I wouldn't mind looking at him at 6 in the morning, and I'd trust him if my wife was taking out the cans. That's what kind of guy I'm talking about here. He's a great guy. Reminds me of... No, actually, Jay's a nice person. And that's probably the best thing I like about him.
It's really good to have somebody like Jay McALONEN as a supplier for Willamette Week, and he couldn't be replaced. I'm not sure that we'd be in business if it weren't for people like Jay.
Jay's coming.
Don't feel like I'm under pressure very much. I mean, what makes you feel like you're under pressure? I mean, like Birds, he doesn't know what the pressure's all about. Just
Let's get! My God! Pressure! I can handle it! I mean, let's turn on the TV! Quick! Change! Stop! Go! Pressure! I'll show you what pressure's all about! I can take it!
I'm so happy, happy-go-lucky me. I just go my way, living every day. I don't worry and don't agree. Winter, fall, and spring, I just smile and sing. Things that bother you never bother me. I think everything's fine. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.